Okay, so today I'm going to go ahead and be talking about the history versus the current numeration system. I'm going to go ahead and compare and contrast with the Hindu Arabic numeration system with the system that I chose, and it's Manning. I cannot say it. So I'm going to go ahead and just get a little background of both. So the Hindu is very unique, honestly. Um, they did theirs by letters. In how we do our number situation numeral system by numbers. They actually do theirs by letters, which is really unique and really like something that we're not used to. With the main, they actually did theirs by symbols. So the Hindu is by the Arabic. Main, I don't know where it's behind from, but I do know that their systems, the way they did it with symbols instead of numbers, which is also really unique and really different from ours. So I'm gonna go ahead and how to do a compare and contrast of both. I went ahead and just drew a Venn diagram of the Hindu and the other one that I am going to talk about, and then what they have different and similarities, and I'm gonna go ahead and describe some characteristics that they both have and what's unique about them. So with the Hindu, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The Hindu is very much like, the way they did it is like tally marks. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I kind of already wrote it down. So they have from 1 to 9. They don't. They have it like just like tally marks, but when it comes to 10, it's an X, and that's how you know it's 10. And then they did theirs with thousands. It would just be an M. 8, 9, 10 thousands. I just did 10. It's going by like the hundreds. So I did 10 tally marks, but an M equals thousands. And then you have a, I totally forgot about C. I'm so sorry. I skipped one. C is hundreds. So 10, so it's 10, hundreds, thousands. So X, C, M. X is for 10, C's are for hundreds, and M's are for thousands. So I'm going to go ahead and give you an example of what it will be like, just so y'all have more understanding, and then we'll get to the compare and contrast. So let's say you have example like this, where you have 2 M's, 4 C's, and 5 1's. Well, M's equals thousands, C's equals hundreds, and 1's equals tens. So how that would be, it would actually just be 200 since you have 2 M's, or 2,000, sorry. It would be 2,000 since you have 2 M's. So 2,000, you have 4 C's, so that would be 400. And you have 5 tally marks, 5 1, so 405. So that's how it kind of goes. So you have your M's are thousands, C's are hundreds, and you have your 5 tens, so 1's. So 2,000, so you have 2 M's, 4 C's, 405. So that is basically an example of how it is. The Manning, the one that I chose, I'm not going to do a line, they're symbols. So the way they are is, I kind of wrote it on a piece of paper ahead of time. That way we don't have to be here for hours. So they do there's like symbols. So 1 is a dot, 2 is 2 dots, 3 is 3 dots, 4 is 4 dots. When it hits 5, it's a line. So 5's like 5, 10's, 15's are lines. So I don't know if you noticed, but 5 has a line, and then if you look down here where it says 10, it has 2 lines. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So you have 2 lines. And I don't know if you see on the 15, where's that? Right here you have 3 lines, 5, 10, 15. So each line's like a 5. So I like theirs because they're kind of similar to what we are, but they're just symbols. Yes, so then from 5 you have 6, and it's 1 line. So you have 1 plus 5 is 6. That's how I kind of think of it. And then you have 7, so 2 plus 5 is 7. That's the way they kind of are, and it goes on till, of course, 10. And then you go down to 11, and it's 1 over 2. So 1 plus 2 5's is 11. Then you have it again. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 dots plus 2 lines, and then you have your 3 lines, and it keeps going on and on until so on. That's basically their own system. It's pretty cool. I honestly find it. So now that I did that and kind of talked about what each was, I'm gonna go ahead and try to compare them or kind of do what's different about them. So we can honestly go with off the bat what I just said, how one used letters and one used symbols. That is the difference to some differences between them. So I just write down the differences. So Hindu uses letters, while the one I chose uses symbols. So all I'm doing is just writing into my Venn diagram the differences. Um, I want to write down the differences first before we talk about the similarities, and then we'll head and go talk about the characteristics about each. So I'm going to try to give you a little bit just so we don't not here for days. So another difference would be, I would say, the M's. So the Hindu, um, they go a base of tens, hundreds, thousands. That's something the Mahan doesn't. They do in their own certain ways, but for this the regular like counting, the one I chose, the man does not. They go by just numbers. So we can use that the Hindu goes by tens, hundreds, thousands. I'm just writing it in. Hundreds, thousands. And then we can say on the one I chose, the man. I can't say. I'm gonna say M because I cannot say it. It's Mayan. The one I chose, M. They each line is a 5. So they have. I would say they go by adding. So how I said how you have 1, 2, 3 to 4, and then you have a dot, a line, so 1 plus a line, which is 5, so that gives you 6. I would say they do theirs by adding 2. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I would just say that they use I would just say they use a system of 5s. I'm just writing it down. Of 5s. They're, what is it called? I'm trying to say a word with like how we did our example. We have 2 M's, 4 C's, and 5 1's. I really can't think of things. It's pretty late at night. I'm gonna go with those differences. There's probably multiple, so let me see. Because I know I wrote some things about them. So with the Hindu, the good things about it is like you list bigger. They list bigger. You list bigger denominators first. And then any 10 symbols of some kind are replaced by a bigger symbol. So I guess if you replace, so you can any by 10. So I would say if any symbols by 10 can be placed by a bigger number. Also 0 in the Hindu, it's still 0 for nothing. Some advantages of the Hindu Arabic is they're more compacted. They have specifics. They have specific situations going on. It allows approximation. It extends to decimals. They do have 100, like 10, like they have 100,000, 10,000, 100,000 system and a million, which is pretty cool. I find that really cool. On the M, the one I chose, when writing them, every group of 5 dots become a bar. So that's what I was trying to say. So every group of 5 dots become a bar. There should never be more than 3 bars in a single place. So there should never be more than 3 bars in a single place. So I guess those are, there's many more differences, but those are the basic difference that we find. Some common things. Let's go ahead and start getting with some common. So I would say they're both different. They're both not the same, and that's something they have in common. They're both I would say they both deal with numbers, of course. I mean, that's something that they all use. Something a difference that I just found out that I'm looking at them now. Um, what's it called? They I rated symbols and letters. Sorry, I'm just kind of late at night. Honestly, I honestly think there's so many differences that I probably don't even know at the moment, but I just do what I know off the bat. Um, numbers. Let me fill in this part. They both have a system. They both have their own certain systems. I think that's pretty cool. I think that it's kind of unique on that they have that. Personally, I really like the M one because we did a project over it, or we did a lab, and I found that pretty easy to like understand, and it's not that hard. I feel like the differences personally, I feel like the one I chose, the M one, that one actually finds it more easier. I feel like that's more common with the one that that's more common with the one that we use nowadays than the with the Hindu. I feel like the Hindu is a little bit harder to understand, a little bit harder to know, even though they're kind of similar with the like, okay, 5 bars, and then after the 10 you have simple like letters. So that's something that's also common. They both at a certain number, they both extend to something else. I guess that's something cool. That's something they both have in common. The difference, like I said, is one goes by fives, the other one goes by tens. The one with the M, they go by every five dots, it goes to a bar, and well, the Hindu goes by 10, so every 10 it's different. So a 10, you hit 10 lines, it's X. Once you hit 100, it's a C, and 1,000 is an M, which is pretty cool. I find that the Hindu is kind of like the numbers, just in letters. I honestly think that's comparing to each other. I find that the Hindu is, it's similar to ours actually, and they're just replacing our numbers with letters. By the one I chose, the M, it's different. They're using totally different symbols, but yet they're still easy to understand. I think that some of the comparing and contrast, something that they have similar and something that we have different with these two, and even including our systems that we use, the characteristics of each. So I think characteristics is basically like what I find unique, and I basically been saying it, overall the whole video. I think that the characteristics of I really like that the one I chose, the 0, is actually it looks like that. I just put 0, but it looks like an I. I don't know. I find that pretty cool. It's pretty cool to add them up too. I think I could do some examples of it. I understand we're not really like showing us how to use it. We're just talking about them, but I think it's pretty cool. I'm gonna show you at least one of each, and I find that pretty cool. It's like if you're gonna do 6, it's gonna be a bar, 5 plus 1, and then if you want to add 11, you can do, of course, 1 dot and 2 gives you. I would say 17. It gives you 17 because you would just add 11 to 6. So it gives you 2 bars and 2 dots, which is pretty cool, or 3 bars and 2 dots. I think that's really cool. You're adding the bars and the numbers and the dots. So what I did here was how they had a 1 dot and a line, so 6 and 2. With 2 lines, you add the bars and add the dots, which is really similar to the system that we do now, and that's pretty different from the Hindu. Actually, that's that's different. The Hindu doesn't do anything like that. I think it's pretty cool, and I feel like the characteristics for each are unique. They're very different. I mean, you look at it, one has letters, one has symbols. There is like a base thousands that I see that that I also learned. It looks something like that. So it's like hundreds, and the way they show it, it shows like 3 times 100 plus 6 times 10 plus 7 times 1, and that gives you 327. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's different. They go by hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. They go by, groups of hundreds and tens, and the one I chose is not. Um, I think the characteristics of both are pretty unique. I mean, I described a lot of characteristics of themselves, and I described some advantages of each. I think the main one that I chose is a little bit more easy to comprehend, and I find that every 5 dots is a bar. Um, um, there should never be more than 4 dots in a single place. That's cute. I mean, that's not cute. That's a good note to know. I think that's pretty cool, and I honestly think that's all I have for today about the Hindu and the man. I feel like I didn't really do as best as I could. They do have similarities. They have that they're both not the same. They both deal with numbers. They both have their own little stories behind them. They both use how I said, like, they go by a bigger number goes into like a symbol. So like a letter, the big by tens, it goes by letter, and then by the fives go by bar, and 15 you add the bars. I think that's a similarity as well. They're both taught not here. They're both taught in their own places. They're both unique. The differences, there's a lot of differences that I probably could not name of right now. It's pretty late, and there's many differences, characteristics of each. Many people, the man, they they're a number system based on a 20. I mean 20. They're based on 20s, I guess you can say, which is pretty. But some I think these are based on fives, and like I said, the Hindu are based by like tens. I find that pretty cool. Let me see what else. They're used to make precise predictions. That's also similarity to the Hindu. Hindus also used to make precise predictions, which is pretty cool, honestly, and that's kind of a cute, good, um, a good characteristic about each. The one I chose, actually, it's good for record keeping, which is cool. I mean, with the Hindu, I feel like it's kind of harder for it to be a more to control, like to record it, and like, how do you say it, record keeping it, while the my hand is easier. That's pretty cool, and that's also another characteristic of them, I feel like. Um, um, yeah, I honestly think that's pretty much it. I make differences. I did some commonalities. I did some characteristics. I explained each characteristic. I explained how they're different and stuff. I think I did everything I was asked to. That is it gonna be for tonight, and thank you.